connected 24/7. The first thing most of us do when we get up in the morning is look at our phones and see, okay, 210 WhatsApp messages, right? Or 1,001 emails. We are all connected, but which part of us is connected? Are we emotionally connected? And if we are so connected, how do we keep up those connections in a meaningful way? So for me, when I think of a brave new world, it's all about, there's so much noise around me, there's so much happening around me, there's so much that's distracting me, there are so many fascinating opportunities. Am I brave enough to step back and connect with myself internally? Am I brave enough to say, I don't have to take that opportunity. It's okay not to take every fascinating opportunity. It's okay to give up some of my bonus. It's okay to give up the next promotion. And I know to a bunch of high achievers, we are all A-type personalities mostly. It's really, for me, it's the idea that I'm personally kind of struggling with is, am I brave enough to give up this fascinating opportunity and say, no, I'm going to sit back. I will spend that evening with myself and look internally and connect with myself. To me, that is a really big challenge. I think I told some of you last year how my mother was suffering from brain cancer. She passed away on May 6th this year, okay? And that's the time there was a lot of work, a lot of stuff going on in my life, but it was that event that led me to say, no, I want to disengage with the outward world and connect with me internally. And when I emerged, I found the sun is still shining. I found day is still happening. I found night is still happening. I found whatever opportunities I might have missed, there are a gazillion more opportunities out there as far as my work is concerned. And so the message I'm trying to convey is, you need to be brave to take the step to disengage. And it's okay to disengage and take the time to disengage and be with yourself. Because only when I did that, I found the strength and the resources within me to come back again, refreshed, rejuvenated. So I'm really looking forward to all the speakers today to see what they have to tell us about this brave new world and what's happening to change and the fast pace of change. The one ask I have of you guys is, let's connect, okay? Let's connect during the event today. And connect not at a very superficial level, but even if you get to know one person at a meaningful level, I think that will be really enriching. So with that, we're running a little bit behind time, but thank you for coming. And with that, I'm going to hand it back to the MCs. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Ashima. So next we'll have the keynote address by Tiger Tyagarajan. So most of you may know Tiger. Tiger is credited as one of the industry leaders who has pioneered the global business model, and he has transformed the GE Capital, international services, into a new organization that's working with different companies to essentially, move their business globally and make them more competitive within the industry. Tiger spends a lot of time, obviously, with all the CEOs of different types of industries, and he can pretty much, cover a lot of those insights in the conversation. He's also very passionate about the global, growing the global talent, and he's also he's a co-founder of one of the organizations which are working on the gender equality at workplace, and he speaks and writes quite a bit about them. He shared with us that he's an avid runner, and he was thinking of actually running from his midtown. home to come here, but then he spared us because spared us of putting up with the sweating CEO. So with with that I welcome Tiger for the keynote.
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction, and thank you for having me here. Ashima, this is I need to start with an apology. I've had an invitation to this event quite a few times, and I don't know if you remember, I was here for 2005 event. I suspect what I spoke at that event was so bad. No, I did get quite a few invites. The problem I've always had is the point you were making. I just travel too much, and therefore it's very tough for me to find a way to jump in. And even if I promise, I sometimes break promises, which is really bad. So when this invitation came, I said, I can't keep saying no. So I said yes. And there were three reasons I said yes. I can't keep saying no was one reason. Second was the fact that I did want to reconnect back. And third was the topic. I do think we are living in a pretty incredibly crazy world. Change has always been the case in this world, but I think the pace of change is just unbelievable. And when I say unbelievable, I actually think to have businesses destroyed in 24 hours is possible today. So, as I was telling Ashima, I was hoping and praying that once I say yes, my travel doesn't screw it up. So I landed back this morning after a red-eye flight from the Bay Area, then decided that the way to detox myself is to run. Finally gave up the idea, so I'm here. So thank you, Ashima, for having me here. What I'd like to do is share a few pages to provoke some thoughts and try and find a way to break it into an interaction. I'd like you to make sure that I cut off, otherwise I can keep talking. So you blink and the world changes. I mean, you pick any word here and it's true. Disruption is a great word to use. Some people think it's a very negative word, but the reality is it's a very positive word. There are businesses that are, as we speak, being destroyed by businesses that had no right to exist in that space, but were born because someone took 5 different things that have nothing to do with that industry, put them together, and created a new business model that destroyed an existing business from nowhere. So thinking about competitors as competitors is actually pretty crazy these days, because that list of competitors could have a new competitor tomorrow morning that you hadn't even dreamt of. And there are, in the way we think about the world is there are 5 disruptive forces. Political disruption, it's always been there, but I think the pace of that, the craziness of that is probably more than it's ever been before. Technology disruption, most obvious to all of us. Economic disruption, and the one that is the most interesting one here is the sharing economy. Some of us believe that actually the world is moving pretty dramatically towards the sharing economy. In all my travels to meet clients across the world, I was in Norway a month back, and I met a bunch of C-suite people. These are very rich people. When you are C-suite in Norway for a large billion-dollar company, I mean, you're really, really rich. And at dinner, they were talking about the fact that 80% of that table, 8 out of the 10, did not own a car. They all lived in 2 or 3, areas that are these rich people. As a family of 40, one of them was describing, they have about 12 cars available. They have an e-tool app, etc., that allows them to book the car when they want to use it. Once it's booked, they can use it for whatever they want. They then drop the car back, someone else uses it. That's the way it is. So I actually dug deeper to say, why do you do this? They had only one reason. They said, look, obviously we can afford cars, but it's so stupid for us to have a car when actually we don't use it fully. This way we save the environment from having to buy 40 cars. If actually the world starts thinking that way, GM needs to worry, Toyota needs to worry, etc., etc. Uber takes off, they all need to worry because the math shows that US auto sales will come down by 53% if all people start using Uber versus having a car for a period of 3 to 4 years. And then of course it will settle down, but it will settle down at a lower level. Social, I think actually a couple of the Suresh, I never thank Suresh for hosting this. Between Suresh and Ashima, they covered about the fact that they're so socially connected that today information flows in a nanosecond. And finally, the environment. And what these do is set up 4 dimensions of rapid disruptive change Disruption of new business models, and you have a list of new business models that disrupt traditional, strong industries. Disruption in the way things get done, processes, where you can completely evaporate something that has thousands and thousands of people, and now you need 0 people. We've seen that happen. After all, part of our business is actually doing work for large companies, and we've seen environments where 1,000 people became 3, and it happened in about 15 months. The third is the way customer engagement happens. No longer is it only about, when a customer asks a question, how quickly and perfectly can you answer, which used to be the way the internet and the web was developing. It's now saying, I know you, probably better than you know yourself, so here's an offering that you should look at, and then when you look at it, you say, my God, how did you get it? So it's actually engaging the customer in a manner where you are offered choices rather than answering for customer questions, which is a very different way of engaging a customer. And finally, I think the distinction between an employee and a customer is merging pretty dramatically. There's almost a sphere of thought that says you've got to treat your employees as customers and engage with them the same way you will engage with consumers. And if you don't, you might lose them completely. So let's take one industry and how this is playing out in one dimension. This is really one microcosm. One of the ways to think about the manufacturing industry is that the manufacturing industry is not going to be the manufacturing industry at all. It's going to be manufacturing plus services. And really, if manufacturing companies don't know what it means to be a services company, they're dead. The Internet of Things will make all manufacturing companies become service companies. So what does that mean? It means that, and I was in the Bay Area yesterday, and I don't have a Tesla, I have a friend who has a Tesla. And he loaded the new software 48 hours back, downloaded it overnight. Apparently there's a new software that you can download today. And he was telling me that it feels like a new car. One download, same car, new car. The interface is new, the look and feel is new, the features are new, everything is new. So it's a manufacturing company that has done a new product launch by downloading a new software. That's a very different skill set, it's a very different cycle time. It's no longer about, let me build the next car and launch it over the next 3 years. That's the world that the manufacturing companies have to get to. Let me pick another one, which is this whole notion of sales and marketing. It's no longer about product sales and